I think for us right now, we're trying to be really thoughtful and really surgical about our growth, really strategic. The focus right now on the retail side is independent, natural grocery, California focus, where we can really demo, really be there on site. That's what's so good about the farmers market is I get to really educate because we're first to market here. If you Google Date Coffee, we'll be on page 1. We're on page 1 there, but it's not a big search volume, right? Because it's a totally new category. What will populate is date seed coffee.
Hey everybody, this is Caitlin Brooker, editor at Startup CPG. We are back with another founder feature. How's everyone feeling about coffee? Are you a coffee freak or looking to lessen your caffeine intake? What about dates? Because I'm a self-proclaimed date freak. Today we're talking with Greg Cahn, co-founder of Tamar Date Coffee. Greg's turned his personal coffee struggles into a game-changing product that's part coffee, part dates, including the upcycled date seeds that would otherwise be waste. From his background in the music industry to becoming first to market in the date coffee category, Greg's proving that sometimes the best innovations come from solving your own problems. We'll dive into how he's building a brand with just 2 ingredients, why the branding caught my eye, and what it's like to educate consumers on a completely new category. This conversation might change how you think about your next morning cup. Enjoy! Hey everybody, welcome back to the Startup CPG Podcast. This is Caitlin, and today I'm here with Greg Cahn, co-founder of Tamar Date Coffee. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Caitlin. Really excited about this.
It's been a long time coming. Thank you so much for being so flexible and understanding toddler life. We are very happy to finally have you here.
I know that life very well. And it's easy. And again, just we're really grateful for Startup CPG, so respected in the industry, and so to be here talking about Tamar today is just a big thrill. And and I'm easy. I'm very easy.
Great. Well, let's dive into it. For anybody who's listening that doesn't know who Tamar is, can you just give us a little brief description of what Tamar is?
Sure. So Tamar, so our brand name is Tamar, Tamar Date Coffee. We do a very non-sophisticated blend of coffee, which is we have our first SKU, which is what we call our original blend, which is we call it Balance. It's 50% coffee and it's 50% dates. Of that 50% of the dates, 35% is date seeds, 15% is the date fruit, dried and ground into what we call date sugar or date powder. Some people, the industry doesn't like the word sugar, but it is date sugar, the healthiest sweetener, the healthiest sugar. But so we serve date coffee. And the biggest question that people always ask me is, does it taste like coffee? It does, because it is coffee. It's just blended with dates.
That's a great question. I'm sure many people are probably like, is it actually coffee or is it dates? But it's a blend of both. So that's
Blend of both.
great to know.
Yeah, it's not infused. It's not extracted. It's just it's 2 amazing ingredients blended together.
I love that. Did you love coffee first or did you love dates first?
I loved coffee first. And then I fell in love with dates. But I had a big problem with coffee, which for me, my big pain point was coffee has been too acidic for me. I struggle with acid reflux forever. And eventually it got to a place where I needed to make a change, because it was just not, the experience of drinking coffee was not enjoyable. My esophagus would burn, and just it really messed with my stomach and messed with my whole kind of this whole area. So when my brother-in-law, who's the maker, he was tinkering with a few things, dates and coffee, and brought me the idea, the very early iteration of the product, and reached out and said, you really I need you to come up to the Bay. I live in Los Angeles. He's up in the Bay. And he said, I really need you to come up to the Bay and try something. I have something really interesting that I think you're going to like. The backstory of that is, I've always been kind of a soundboard to him and his creations. We're both entrepreneurs at heart, and but I wasn't in food and bev at the time. I've been in music for most of my working life. Um, but I was looking for something. I was looking for a business to start, specifically in e-com. Um, and I'm a religious, how I built this fanatic. And over the years, I got to a place where like, I really want to start something. And as the universe works, sometimes things are just brought to you and it just is the right moment. And, so he had me really intrigued. I drove up to the Bay and we sat down and had my first cup of date coffee. And at that point, it was like this immediate light bulb of, wow, this is a coffee I can enjoy. It was the most smooth, balanced coffee that was going down my esophagus that, was just, so for me, not even on a founder entrepreneur perspective, but more of like a use case as a user, it was immediate. And I said, I need more of this. This is what I need. So that was like the beginning, the origin of saying, I'm in, you have me at dates, let's go.
Now, did Eyal know about your experience with acid reflux prior to kind of saying, hey, let's try this coffee together?
He didn't know like the full scope of what how affected my life has been. I've enjoyed coffee with him for a long time, over family outings. We would find ourselves kind of in the corner talking about music and having a cup of coffee. Um, and he knew that I would put honey and cinnamon in my coffee. One, to sweeten the coffee because I don't like bitter coffee, and two, to cut the acidity with the cinnamon. So he always knew that because every time I'd come up to the Bay and have him pour me a cup of coffee, I'd always ask for honey and cinnamon, and he just thought it was just a thing. But it was really because my acid reflux um, and I like to sweeten my coffee. So, but he didn't know the medication that I take. He didn't know all of the things that I kind of deal with on a day to day with acid reflux. So then when we had that cup and what I was telling him how I was experiencing this coffee and how it was just, I was so mind blown. That's when he was like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe we have a call out here. Maybe we have a low acid coffee here. So it was, over time, and now he understands. I mean, he knows what medication I'm on. I mean, he knows all the things, probably more than he ever did about acid reflux.
So it was an educational moment for him, for sure.
Big time, big time.
So tell me about your background. You mentioned music. What about your background makes this very important in regards to music and coffee?
So since 15, 16, I've been a singer in bands, an artist, a music entrepreneur. And, and then from there, it kind of, I became a music supervisor for film and TV and ad. So that's what I've been doing. And that's what I've known for the last 20, plus years of my professional life. Been on stages, played festivals, did that whole thing, and worked on movies and television shows and advertisements and all around music, my love for music. And I need to do something that I'm passionate about. So that was my driver for being in the music industry all this time, which is not a very healthy industry. Um, but I was, again, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I like to, when I have something to say or push and find an audience, I get very excited about it. And I think there's this transcendent connectivity between the thing and the audience, much like being on a stage and connecting with your audience, and it kind of being this full community connective thing. So when I was looking for something a little bit outside music and trying to find the product that I really wanted to dive into, um, when my brother-in-law Eyal showed me the product and how I could kind of help this, the first my instinct was, I want to build the brand because that's what I love to do. I love design. I love branding. So, in the creative side. So I really took the product, helped him kind of develop it. I was his guinea pig, tasted, our initial formulation process. Like I was just drinking cups and cups and cups and really dialing in the ratio. But his strength is he's product and ops. I'm more creative, sales, biz dev. That's kind of where our skill sets kind of split and intersect. So I dove into the creative, which is the thing I know, and started doing the storytelling, which is what I love. And what I found was whether it's music or it's food and bev, CPG, the parallel is very much the same. It's storytelling, it's finding the right audience, it's connecting to that audience, it's delivering that message over and over till it feels like you don't have to deliver it anymore. You're all in the same room enjoying what we all love to enjoy, whether it's music or a cup of date coffee. But so I really leaned into the parallel of just storytelling and creative, and that's what I know. So there was no kind of like transition process for me. Didn't feel like a transition or from one industry to another. It was very seamless in that sense.
That does sound like it would be very seamless and also very energizing. And you've given me a lot of things that I want to touch on. One of them is the branding. I I just have to say I probably should have started out by saying this. I'm a decaf coffee drinker. I can't do caffeine anymore. I did taste Tamar, obviously, because I love dates and I love the taste of coffee. But what got me, aside from the dates, was the branding. It's just this nice, plain package with a bright yellow dot. Tell me what the inspiration was behind that.
I love it. So I also brought a hat, which I'll send you.
Oh,
Um,
love that.
and I brought 2 bags, which we designed. And this is our original 50/50, and this is our newest SKU, the 70/30, which is we call Elevate. It's a little bit more caffeine, so not for your speed, but we will have something for you very soon. We're gonna do a non-caf eventually, all dates. But back to the yellow dot in the branding. I like circles. I like shapes, but of all the shapes, I love circles. And when I dove in, the first thing I did was much like going to a record shop when I was little and just going through the aisles and just looking at all the vinyl and all the CDs and all the tapes and just, really gushing over album covers. I found myself in Erewhon and in Whole Foods and Sprouts and going through the aisles and going and looking at every product, every bag, every package. And during those like weeks of just studying, and it was just so ironic that I'm now in a grocery store doing the same thing that I used to do in a record shop. But I said, if we're one day when we're on this shelf, how can we stick out? And if I'm in the produce section and I peek over to another section, say the coffee aisle, how can I find my bag from 30, 50 feet away? And, and, and then getting deeper into dates and the meaning behind dates. The backstory behind dates are a desert fruit, right? So very drought tolerant, need sun more than water to grow. So, in my ideation process, I was fixated on this idea of the circle and the yellow circle, signifying the desert sun. And I just, kind of played and played and played. And I like minimalism. I like really simple design, Japanese design. I think like matcha. I like matcha brandings. I love matcha brands because they're very similar in that sense. They're very clean and, so I wanted that. I wanted something very simple. I wanted something that had a little bit deeper meaning. Um, but just wasn't busy. And a lot of things were just too busy, very, very busy. So I landed on the circle. landed on the sun. I landed on the type, which I again, simple, but it's important and it's intentional. All lowercase. And again, the A of this type kind of like is very circular. So I just, you go with your gut. You go with what you like. We didn't outsource. We have not outsourced to a creative agency yet. Everything is designed in-house. I did all the design, and I have a great partner who let me kind of steer the creative side, but feel very supported. And we're still in each other's minutia of his corner and my corner, but and we challenge each other, but there's trust there, So when you have a supportive partnership and you can just go with your gut, good things happen.
I love everything about the branding. I am also very into simplicity, minimalism, love the sans serif, and I also love the lowercase font too. I actually wrote a paper when I was in college about how we should be able to use lowercase whenever we want to and choose the fonts that we want to when we're writing papers to express emotion. I'm so sick of Times New Roman.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to whoever invented it, but it's not for me.
It just looks like a legal doc.
Right.
The other thing, and to your viewers too, there was a really transformative Netflix doc that really changed me in such a good way. It's called Abstract. Have you seen this?
I haven't, but I'm going to add it to my list.
It's incredible, and there's 2 seasons, and they just take similar like pioneers of different creative industries, whether it's an architect or it's a font maker or it's a shoemaker like Tinker Hatfield, who designed the Air Jordan, all types of creative industries of pioneers. And it's like a hour episode, but it is so inspiring for anyone who's in creative branding, entrepreneur. It really changed me. And so big recommendation to you and your viewers. Abstract on Netflix. Incredible.
All right. Taking notes. Abstract on Netflix. Piece of advice to founders out there. Take a look.
Big time. Big time.
And what about the brand name, Tamar? What does Tamar mean?
So Tamar is Ayel's mother's name. So my brother-in-law, the maker's mother's name. And a couple things, the backstory on that. So it's a pretty special name. It is basically the universal name for the date palm. So it means the date palm in Hebrew, means the date palm basically in Arabic, just a slightly different variation of Tamar. In Armenian, Tamar, Tamara, Tamara, it all means the date palm, which I loved. And when he told me that, and I just said, that's the name. Like, we were messing with all different variations of dates. And then also, like, for me, back to like creative, like, I think just visually, it's just a very stunning looking word. It's short. It's got 2 A's in it. Like, it's just, the M kind of centers it a bit. So when I saw it and I was writing it down and I was looking at it, it was really like visually stunning. And so all of those things just made me really set on that name. But the back end of that is it's his mother's name and mother. And I love that. So
it is very balanced when you look at it. It's just very simple, very beautiful. And with the font, it's very elegant looking, but very simple too.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's a cool story. I did not know that about Tamar and dates and Tamara. Now, anytime I hear somebody with the name Tamara, that's what I'm going to think is dates.
Yeah. I mean, to not get too religious, but like, it's a biblical name, meaning the date palm. And the date obviously is a very ancient fruit. So it's just and dates, and again, this could be a whole other podcast on dates, but dates are amazing. They're an amazing, ancient, modern fruit that is in so many ways so important for us, especially now, being that they are a desert fruit with so much nutritional profile that doesn't require a lot of water, that's drought tolerant, and super sustainable. So it's like, whoa.
We'll be right back. A few years back, when I ran a beverage company, we had to launch using those plastic sleeves to put our designs on the cans. But they looked bad. The sleeves get stretched out, they don't cover the full can, and overall, they just look and feel low quality. Lucky for you, digital can printing technology has come so far over the last few years that now you can launch your beverage brand or new SKUs with a fully printed look, and it's at similar pricing to those plastic sleeves. Our friends at CanWorks, which is the largest US-based digital can printer, are happy to work with our community at very low minimums, even one pallet. They've got locations on the East Coast, the West Coast, Texas. Get in touch with them through our contact form. It's at canworksprinting.com/startupcpg.
I think people often hear about the beneficial properties of the fruit itself, but you're actually using the seed too. So, can you tell us what the properties of the seed hold for people who want to drink Tamar?
So the seed, which is not the sweet part, right? The pitted date is where the sweetness lies. The pit or the seed, which is a wasted product, which was the thing that initially I really loved when he was explaining, what we were doing here. And I said, wow, you're taking the pit that is otherwise waste, that people pit a date, throw it in the trash. You're telling me that thing is going back in and we're upcycling that. And I love that. So the pit, the seed, what we're doing is we are roasting it just like a coffee bean and then grinding it down into ground date, just like ground coffee. So it behaves very similar to a coffee bean in terms of time and temperature. So, anywhere from let's say a medium roast of a coffee bean is very similar to a medium roast of a date seed. I mean, they're really close in temperature and time. So 430, 450, 460 degrees, 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, all very, very similar in that frame. And that is basically it. So then what we're doing is our farm, which is the seed is waste, or what they do is, because there's not much of a market for it, they send it to animal farms for cattle feed just to get something out of that seed, which is crazy to me because we should be ingesting that seed. We should be consuming that, no disrespect to cows, but, they don't fiber. I mean, so the seeds, the nutritional properties of the seed is high dietary fiber, like loaded with fiber, iron, potassium, like antioxidant polyphenols, loaded. Like the nutritional profile of the seed is insane. Like if you were to eat our coffee, you would get, and this is not instant, but if you were to eat it, we have 10 grams of fiber per serving in this thing. Now, what we're doing right now with our packaging is not misleading anyone in the sense that this is not instant. So you have to brew this. So by extraction, you're going to extract, we're anywhere between 10 to 20% of those values. But what's so amazing about that is that there's no fiber in coffee. And coffee companies don't require a nutritional label. Most coffee bags, you'll never see a nutritional label. But we're required because we have a fruit blended with coffee. So we have to have a nutritional label on our packaging, right? That's what to me is so earth-shattering about this product, is that because of the dates being blended with the coffee, you're getting a very nutritious, nutrient-dense, very nutrient-rich coffee. And so fiber, iron, potassium, things that you would not find in 100% Arabica Robusta coffee, you're finding in the date coffee. So, and that's primarily because of that date seed, which is a waste product. So we're upcycling that back into the market and giving it to humans, not just cows.
I love that. I love when brands are finding new ways to take ingredients that would otherwise be waste because there's so much of it. There's ingredients in crisis right now. It's just very refreshing to hear of brands who are finding ways to just make the most out of the ingredients that they have.
And it's simple. This is not a sophisticated product. I mean, talk about clean label. This is two ingredients. It's coffee and dates. And of the dates, we're using the whole date. We're using both parts of the date, the seed and the fruit. And that's the thing to me also is this is not like this very new agey, coffee. That's not really coffee. That's a total coffee substitute. No, this is a coffee alternative, not a coffee substitute. We love coffee. We just wanted less of it. We wanted caffeine. We just wanted to reduce it. And we wanted a less acidic coffee, and the dates naturally cut the acidity. And the dates are really easy on the stomach. So like for people who have stomach issues, when they go to the bathroom after a cup of coffee, this coffee like totally neutralizes your stomach. So I don't go to the bathroom at all. Like I really don't. Like when I go back to 100% Arabica coffee, that's when I find, wow, like that's where it's like, oh, there's a difference here. Like, so it's those types of like little things where you can load up on the health benefits and the call outs, but it's also the experience of drinking this product. And I think that's the thing that is a little bit invisible until you do it and you experience it. And then, because like some things you just have to experience. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to eat this or drink this because it has all these health benefits and call outs. But then you don't really enjoy it or you don't really experience it. But this is a really good experience with this coffee.
Tell me a little bit more about the experience for people who have not tried Tamar yet. What could they expect in comparison to a more mainstream cup of coffee?
So I do the farmers market on Sundays, which is like the best because you really get real-time people, real-time data. And so I do the Brentwood Farmers Market here in Los Angeles, and I have a lot of fun, and I sell a lot of bags to generally mostly people who've never had date coffee in their life. And there was a funny comment this past Sunday of a guy who said, I kind of like when coffee kicks me. Like I drink a lot of caffeine. I do espresso. Like, so I don't know if your half and half is going to do it for me. You should go with our Elevate, which is our 70/30, a little higher caffeine, more like a 95 milligrams of caffeine compared to a Starbucks 8-ounce, which is like 145 milligrams, but a little lesser caffeine, but still up there for you. But what I told him was, this coffee is not going to kick you; it's going to hug you, and that's the experience. Is that when you drink this, it really you don't have the jitters. You really don't. You don't have that term like is tossed around a lot. Oh, no jitters, no crash, no this, no that. I don't have those emotional swings. I feel like it just naturally nicely climbs, to a certain peak level and just stays there. I used to be a caffeine freak. Like I had a caffeine problem that I needed to cut. One, because caffeine also exacerbates acid reflux. But I needed to cut my caffeine because I was having like anxiety and the over caffeinated drinks were doing it for me. But like any habit, 21 days, change your habit, get to a new baseline, and then that's your new baseline. So anyone is, it's possible for anyone to change their baseline into something better for them. But people are so stuck at a certain baseline. But when I changed it, I felt better. And I drink 2 cups of this every morning out of a French press. And I don't need to touch coffee for the, past 9-10 o'clock a.m. And I am productive and I'm not overly anxious and overly jittery and overly stimulated. And I sleep great. And so and I just feel, it just feels nice and it's easy on my stomach and it's less acidic and it's naturally sweet. I don't have to add any sort of, vanilla creamer, honey, which is high sugar content, which I love honey, but again, it's not as healthy of a sweetener as date sugar. Date sugar is, of the 3 healthiest sweeteners, monk fruit, coconut sugar, and date sugar. Those are like the top 3 that you'll find on Google and if you read on sweeteners, alternative sweeteners. Date sugar is the lowest on the glycemic index. So we will argue of all the sweeteners, all the sugars out there, and honey's good for you. Maple syrup, good for you. There's good sweeteners out there, but date sugar, your body knows what to do with the date sugar. Natural, It's the best. So back to answering your question, um,
Great.
it's a really it's the experience that I think is it really separates us from regular coffee that kicks you in the butt and is not really kind to you. Just gives you that like 2 hours of, you know, rocket fuel. This is like really nice, sustained energy.
Sustained is a good word for it because it does seem like it would be, we have these unsustainable habits right now of drinking too much caffeine, but it sounds like Tamar is a great sustainable replacement, not only ingredient wise and values wise, but just for your body. If you can drink 2 cups a day and go on with your day after your morning's over, I think that says a lot.
I mean, I'll be honest, like I've lived, you know, I've gotten into some pretty bad habits. Um, Especially in the music business, you know, in the entertainment business, you are, especially on the creative side, you feel this need and this urgency to be creative every second. And because you're just that close from a groundbreaking, life-changing creative thing, song, whatever, film script, whatever. So you feel this pressure to take so many different stimulants over, overstimulated coffee, Adderall, um, so many things to try and get to that peak performance of productivity. Uh, and it's such a trick. It's such a trap. And when you're grounded and you feel really good and you find that one thing that, just makes you just on a little bit more, but not all the way on, like you all the way on is too, maybe a little too much. Just feeling grounded and feeling right and feeling clear. That's where the magic happens.
I totally resonate with that. I find that I am most creative when I don't have anything in my body or anything else controlling my mind, and it's just me.
Totally.
So I'm really happy to hear that you're getting good feedback that you can apply at farmers markets. Tell me about your experience at Expo West.
That was amazing. Certainly something that we were driving towards. I had attended it um, for the last few years through a very good friend of mine who's got an amazing jerky company. I'll just call it out. Think Jerky out of Chicago, incredible. Um, and Jeremy, who's part of Think Jerky, who's been a very good friend of me and very generous with his knowledge and openness to pushing me into this space. So I was using their card but finally we were ready to kind of take our first step in. And we took a step in at the Fresh Ideas organic marketplace, which was, again, for all, early stage CPG brands, do not overlook the Fresh Ideas organic marketplace at Expo West on Tuesday, which is like the pre-show to the show. Because again, when you're a startup and you're cash strapped and you don't have a ton of funds to do a big blowout, 8 by 10, 10 by 10 on, floor 100, 200, like whatever. We took that step in at the Fresh Ideas, and that was such a good show for us because it was very focused. There was not a ton of brands, but there were really respectable brands that we really respect. Um, and we had a blast. And there were all the buyers, everyone from the ecosystem was there. I mean, we met everyone. And so there was no Date Coffee on the floor. We were the only ones. And the curiosity and excitement around what we were doing was like, it proved a point to us, which was people had never tasted something like this before. And what they thought was going to be this substitute thing that tasted kind of funny, ended up being wow. Like the reaction was like, wow, this is coffee. This is totally familiar. This is like really enjoyable, subtly sweet coffee. Conversations we had were amazing. Got a lot of, respected Instagram media company channels doing a lot of stories on us. It was really exciting. And so then, the Fresh Ideas also, we got 3 badges. We didn't do a big Wednesday through Friday exhibit. We just got the badge to set up meetings, did a bunch of dinners with some potential investors and people. And so going into next year, certainly that's the move for us, is to have to really exhibit and be ready for a big retail push. I think for us right now, we're trying to be really thoughtful and really surgical about our growth. Really strategic. The focus right now on the retail side is independent, natural grocery, California focus, where we can really demo, really be there on site. That's what's so good about the farmers market, is I get to really educate, because there's nobody doing, we're first to market here. If you Google Date Coffee, we'll be on page one. We're on page one there, but it's not a big search volume, right? Because it's a totally new category. What will populate is date seed coffee. And that was when we first looked into this idea. What we found, not many companies around the world, but there are some that do the date seed coffee, and it's just the seed as a true coffee bean replacement. And what they do is they just use the seed, and we found companies that pair it with chicory. And frankly, not to be a hater here, but I just didn't enjoy any of them, right? So that was kind of our motivation to go further, use coffee, create our own blend, and really push into this kind of first to market as a true date coffee brand and product. That's kind of our strategy, is retail is certainly in the, we're looking at it through the front mirror or through the front window, and we certainly see us, in big grocery pretty, soon. But we don't want to go too fast. We know, we're the operation is very manageable at this moment. But now is our time to kind of hit the gas, because the gap is always closing and people are listening and taking notes, who are much more funded and capitalized than us. So it feels like the time is now to kind of accelerate, try and own the category, and then go from there. And we certainly have stuff in R&D that we're really excited about, as we kind of expand into beverage and dates being kind of positioned as a date beverage company.
I love all of that. It sounds like Expo West was perfect for you to exhibit at. I look forward to hopefully seeing you in 2026. We can meet in person.
Definitely. I can't wait.
Let's help accelerate that growth a little bit. Tell our listeners where they can find you online.
Yeah. So our website, always the best place, drinktamar.com, and our handles on IG, Facebook, at drinktamar, TikTok at drinktamar, although our TikTok it's getting there. But IG is where we're most active on social. We're on Amazon. We're on Amazon Prime. Type in Tamar Date Coffee, and we will populate. We're in one natural grocery, actually. We're up in Diablo Foods, up in Lafayette, California, an amazing family-owned natural grocery, and have, really a test case for us. They've sold well, selling through, multiple reorders. So that was a little bit of a proof point to say this is definitely a retail product. We're definitely on that shelf. It's just now, driving people to the website, getting people on subscriptions. We have all those kind of early adopter, evangelists of the product, and it's exciting. That's the excitement, is we're small. We're the little, engine that could, going up that mountain. Got a lot to go, but it's one Tamar Date Coffee bag at a time.
You'll make it happen. It's always great to see a brand that's just truly doing something different, and clearly you're doing that with Tamar.
And that's our mission. The mission is just serving really good stuff to the general public. Not trying to there's a lot of secondary missions, but that's what I like to tell my customers at the farmers market. I am a founder, but I'm a use case. I drink this every day, and I know how good it makes me feel. And all I want to do is pass that on to potential buyers that want to try that and trust that. And so for me, it's not really selling. I've never had a sales job in my life until this. It's been interesting to kind of just talk to people and see what they like about their coffee, see what they're looking for, what it's not giving them. And we all know coffee makes people start their day. And hopefully they have a better day because they drink tomorrow.
I think they will. Well, Greg, it's been great talking to you, and it's been great getting to know more about you and your brand. I really hope that I get to meet you at Expo West in 2026, and I look forward to getting my hat in the mail.
It's coming. It's coming.
Amazing.
I have your address. Yeah, I can't wait to send that to you. And Caitlin, thanks so much. This is so great for founders, entrepreneurs, the whole ecosystem of CPG. You guys are doing an amazing thing, and I see you everywhere. And it's just, again, from one founder to you guys, so grateful for what you guys do.
Thank you so much. We love having you in the community.
Thanks.
Catch you later. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, do us a solid and leave us a 5-star review on ratethispodcast.com/startupcpg. I'm Caitlin Bricker, the host of the Founder Feature Series and editor at Startup CPG. Feel free to find me on LinkedIn or reach out to me on Slack and get on my radar. I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for new and emerging brands to spotlight. If you're a potential sponsor who would like to appear on the podcast, please email partnerships@startupcpg.com. And finally, as a reminder for anyone listening, if you haven't already, we would love for you to join our free CPG community on Slack. You can sign up via our website at startupcpg.com. See you around.